Certainly, most Nigerians who hope for positive change in 2027, who hope for positive change in Nigeria's status quo come 2027, are looking forward to the uh, coalition political party, the African Democratic Congress, to midwife the positive change. But what is the status of the ADC itself? Uh, what is coming out is not palatable. That the ADC is not built, is not yet built on a rock as a coalition opposition political party. That the ADC is still hanging in the balance. What are the issues? One, and very crucial, that the Independent National Electoral Commission has not recognized the new leadership of the ADC. Yes, the National Executive Council of the party was reported as having met and elected new officers, including the national chairman of the party to be David Mark, and secretary David Mark is a former Senate president, by the way, and Mr. Rauf Aregbesola as the secretary, as the national secretary of the party. Rauf Aregbesola is a former governor of Osun State. So, both of them prominent politicians. But that the ADC has not followed through with the normal procedure for recognition of its national officers. Whatever the cause, it is of serious concern that, to hear that INEC has not recognized the national officers of the ADC. Besides, a foremost leader of the ADC, adopted by the coalition, and one who initiated the coalition and spearheaded the adoption of the ADC as its political party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president to the former president Olusegun Obasanjo, Alhaji Abubakar, has himself not registered as a member of the ADC. What is delaying him? What is delaying the procedure for getting INEC to register, to recognize the national officers of the party? The report has it that INEC says it is waiting for the ADC to come forward with requisite documents to formalize its national officers. So, what is delaying it? What is delaying Alhaji Atiku Abubakar from registering as a member of the ADC? Because although he is the bona fide owner of the ADC, so to say, because of his commitment and initiatives, but he has to register formally as a member. Nobody can wish that away. Besides, or moreover, that another key figure, Peter Obi, a former governor of Anambra State and former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, although he has registered as an ADC member, as a member of the ADC, he has not dumped his Labour Party. That again leaves something to be desired. So, what is happening? Of not less concern is that some key figures in the erstwhile ADC have not accepted the adoption of the ADC by the coalition politicians. Amongst them, the presidential candidate of the ADC in the 2023 election, Dumebi Kachukwu. In fact, he is bitter about the adoption of the ADC by the coalition. He's bitter about it. Dumebi Kachukwu, the presidential flag bearer of the ADC in the 2023 election. But on a serious note, why will the type of Kachukwu be unhappy with the adoption? What was the achievement of the ADC in the 2023 presidential election? But again, how can you blame him when Alhaji Atiku Abubakar from the north is insisting on becoming the presidential flag bearer of the ADC from the north, where Muhammadu Buhari had just spent 8 straight years, ending in 2023. But Alhaji Abubakar does not care. So, and that even we who are not politicians, are we happy with that kind of mentality? That kind of mentality. So, what is encouraging to anybody that Atiku Abubakar from the north does not want to know that the north has just served 8 straight years of presidency and that the south should be allowed to serve its own 8 years? But even in 2023, the very year that Muhammadu Buhari ended his term, Atiku Abubakar was bent on succeeding him. So, what are you writing home about? But it's not only Kachukwu who is not happy with the adoption. That Leke Abejide, a House of Representative member, a legislator, elected on the platform of the ADC, is also not happy with the adoption of the ADC by the coalition politicians. And that means that people like this, like Kachuku, Abejide, and others that are opposed to the adoption will have their own supporters with serious implication for the status of the ADC. And at a time like this, you will expect seriousness on the part of the opposition. Seriousness. Because the so-called All Progressives Congress has been retrogressing Nigeria since 2015 till date. Everything is just going worse. Muhammadu Buhari was worse than Goodluck Jonathan, if only by adding S-men terrorism to the war against the Boko Haram Muslim community. And Tinubu, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is worse than Muhammadu Buhari, if only because he's sustaining the war against the Boko Haram Muslim community, he's sustaining S-men terrorism, and added his own. The non-existent fuel subsidy is gone. All other subsidies are gone. So, Nigeria requires nothing less than a serious opposition coalition. If the opponents, the opposition politicians really have love of Nigeria at heart, rather than desperation to become Nigeria's president. Because the ADC did not achieve much in the last presidential election or in the last general elections. Likewise, Labour Party, likewise PDP. So why will opposition political parties not unite and give Nigeria a presidential candidate selflessly? Yeah, not just for yourself as the only person who can do it, but think of Nigeria, including North, South, and zonal justice. Yes, why not if not? Yes, now Dumebi Kachuku, that name looks like Igbo. If you like, let him slot it out with Peter Obi. Yes. Or we look into their records and say, okay, let's go for this. That will be making sense because the two of them are from the southeast. Kachuku, I believe, is Igbo, or from that axis. So, where is the seriousness now? The mess, with particular reference to throwing open the presidential ticket of the ADC to North and South and all this, hiding behind a needle that you have Atiku Abubakar at heart. It's one that if there's nobody else, Nigerians would rather not vote. Many Nigerians, I mean. We have his own supporters, at least. He knows how to throw out money to people to buy loyalty and the rest of it, But most Nigerians will not benefit from that, but from a working Nigeria. A working Nigeria. But Nigeria cannot work under war against Boko Haram, under S-men terrorism, under all fuel subsidy is gone, all other subsidies are gone. Removing subsidies from basic necessity of life to fund pilgrimage bus and subsidized pilgrimages. Senseless things like that. But what does the likes of Atiku Abubakar represent? And also, what do you call him? Malam Nasir El-Rufai, people like that. Aminu Tambuwa, even David Mark. These are people who supported the war against the Boko Haram Muslim community. They didn't raise any, I don't know how much dust they raised when Muhammadu Buhari empowered the S-men terrorists. And now that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is removing subsidy from anything imaginable of beneficial to Nigerians, so well, let's hope and pray that opposition politicians will have a rethink and unite to liberate Nigeria from under the clutches of the all progressive Congress.